Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay. Uh, Firstly, I want to say good afternoon from Kuala Lumpur. Good morning from Europe. Today we have two great speakers, two great professionals and professors. And today we have the big honor to have Professor Letta from Italy, expert in Southeast Asia and Latin America issues. I don't call trade, I call it issues. And the presentation is like that. We are using Microsoft Teams. Please keep your microphones and camera off or mute. And we're going to start in 1 minute, just from now. The idea of this is the fourth session of the first uh, workshop of Latin America and Asia. It's a lot of challenges and a lot uh, so much to learn from both sides, especially now it's from Latin America and Asia. First, I want to introduce Professor Letta, a great professor with high experience. Has experience in Malaysia for 7 years. And actually, he's working in University of Lima, Peru. That is a prestigious university in South America. And we give the floor to Professor Letta. Welcome, and please start your speech. You are most than welcome. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It's very kind of you. And I will try to make a contribution, but this contribution is not an abstract one or an academic one. It's the result of my scholarly experience both in South America and in Southeast Asia. So the presentation goes like this. In 1953, the writer Tennessee Williams wrote the play A Cat on a Hat Tin Roof. In 1955, it was awarded the Pulitzer Prize for drama. Why? For several reasons, among which the phrase, there is an air of mendacity. Indeed, mendacity is a system we live in. In 2022, when the prestigious Ivy League Columbia University was caught fluffing its numbers to increase its international ranking by one of its professors of mathematics, the new scandal exploded in 2022. In a stunning turn of events that sent shockwaves across the university, Columbia University ranked second, along with Harvard University and the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in 2022 by the News and World Report. Because of this, is suspended from applying in 2023. This is the latest scandal, but it is a new phenomenon exploded from the widespread obsession to rise up in the international ranking. It has happened at Columbia, but it is also happening at much smaller universities across the world, and therefore also in Southeast Asia. The importance of linking up South-South platform to the international ranking of educational institutions because one influenced the other. The World Bank study on international ranking of educational institutions clearly identified the main reasons behind their importance. They are national policy as interpreted by decision makers at the university, institutional decision makers as interpreted by the decision maker at the university, data collection for reliable data on higher education, branding to significantly help maintain and build institutional position reputation, student choice, quality of enrolled student, attractive research quality, and influence national and international partnership and collaborations. This ties with the positive branding that manifests from the ranking and improves willingness of others to partner with them and support their membership with academics or professional association. Rankings now play such a strategic role in shaping opinions of current and potential students, parents, employers, government sponsors, and the international image about the quality of tertiary education institutions. Ranking has become at the same time an international obsession, a legitimate source of concern about its misuse, especially for promotional purposes, or even worse, when it becomes the main driver of policy decision to tertiary educational institutions. We live in a world of images, push bottom societies for immediate result and widespread keen competition. Therefore, mendacity has become a system. To be able to survive in this world, institutions have to be ranked internationally. It is essential, as well as being consistent with what one does with the temple of the frontier knowledge, which is the university. However, to get a better ranking, the win-lose decision-making process seems to have, in this university, priority over the win-win one. Yet this university has specialized in giving courses to its students on the importance of a win-win strategy, confirming thus the difference between talking and doing and the preaching what one does. The title of my contribution is Grulea, Missing Southeast Asia University. Professionals working in centers of Latin American studies attached to universities in Southeast Asia show, by and large, four types of personality: Gruli, Grula, Grulaha, and Grulea. A Gruli personality is a very spiritual person who often relies on intuition for decision making. His mind is rich and deep, but often closer for other people. She needs a seclusion in order to gain clarity about what is going on. As many talent, it can always tell what others are feeling. A Grula personality holds the highest priorities of freedom and independence. It does not like dependence at all. Yet working life at these centers is dependent from the priorities set by the university decision maker, who cannot claim to be a Latin American scholar. If she travels with pleasure, routine tasks are not well suited for him or her, who is strong in unfolding ideas that actually generate excitement, and then they do not like something as a certain feeble mood sets in last. A Grula personality has the characteristic of placing his or her trust into logical thinking with great love for details, which result in co-workers estimating them very highly, while praising oneself is not something he she would do. Finally, there is the Grulea personality, which is energetic, charismatic, ambitious, and highly focused in achieving their objective. She has been strategically set within the net-breaking practical world that they live in. Born to executing an idea, if they have true passion for their role in the extended society they live in, they can give everything for it. Their world is fueled by one basic, ever-present question: what if? And three attributes: critical and creative thinking, transforming failure into asset. While professionals working at centers for Latin American studies at universities within the Southeast Asia region revealed to be a mix of four types of personality, like Gruli, Grula, Grulea has to contribute to its South-South conference. Indeed, the Grulea personality is the one to be focused on. Hence, the research question I would like to address is: are centers for Latin American studies in Southeast Asia region fueled by Grulea? And if they are, why do they unite it on a priority and a highly focused basis for carrying out a strategic program project? This fundamental question has to be addressed directly because too often initiatives on Latin America taken in any of the 10 countries within the Southeast Asian region leave no trace of their existence in the hearts and minds of the people who have consumed the products presented in those cross-cultural communication events. Thus, they end up to be spiteful distractions. They should have been, on the contrary, focusing on injecting curiosity in their hearts and minds to become aware of countries within the Latin American region and the mindset of their citizens. They should have done so because curiosity is the springboard of understanding in the long term. Indeed, economies like those in the Southeast Asia region play an increasingly visible role in international education cooperation, with the move from traditional transfer of money to technical and knowledge transfer, as the many foreign universities present in Malaysia, Thailand, and other Southeast Asia countries eloquently demonstrate. Furthermore, the South-South cooperation has become also a new online platform devoted to art from Global South and its diaspora, bringing together over 50 galleries spread across 5 continents. It is an initiative born out of an initiative of a critical need to transfer South-South collaboration that have previously existed out of plain sight. South-South collaboration is timely and necessary in its addressing art imbalances, a promotion of fair value system centered on community, collaboration and exchange, the counter challenge faced by artists of the global South and this diaspora in the local context and globally. It follows the South-South approach evidenced by this educational platform in the global world of the arts are two examples of this type of education badly needing to be highly focused while avoiding distractions. Furthermore, given the title of my presentation, the key importance of moving from distraction to know how focusing on Latin America issues and problems calls for the corporate and social responsibility of the university. In this situation is rampant across the 10 countries in the Southeast Asia region. Therefore, for them too, international ranking has become an obsession. An example is Malaysia. The University of Malaya spells out in crystal clear manner its vision, which is a global university impacting on the world, its mission, which is pushing the boundaries of knowledge and nurturing aspiring leader, and C, its quality policies. is committed to conduct teaching and learning, carrying out research and provide quality service on a global level, generate and enhance knowledge through continuous improvement effort for the benefits of all stakeholders. Yet the crystal clear illustration of this mission, vision and quality policy, moving from the world of words to that of hard facts, reveals that this qualification, crystal clear, is misleading. Indeed, even though these illustrations are called crystal clear, they range from clear, milky, cloudy to opaque. As a matter of fact, many universities in Southeast Asia, including Malaysia, when push comes to shove and meat has to put around the bones, prefer the opaque range. Thus, budgets for Centers for Latin American Studies seldom have received the priority they deserve for their own country and for ASEAN. Why? Because most of these countries treat Latin American countries as a distraction, not as a priority to be focused on to maximize the potential treasured in their complementarities. This unfortunately happens because it is much easier to be attracted by distraction like good food, music, dance, festival, rather than focusing on contributing and maximize those complementarities. In so doing, the public image of Latin America, held by most of the citizens of those countries, is terribly superficial and mainly projected by the media. Hence, it becomes the glamorized contraposition between joy of living and the high crime rate, the splendid beaches, the great food, and the political fragmentation. Consuming thus this cross-cultural communication image, few of these citizens are actually aware that these Latin American countries are the food basket feeding the rest of the world, high technologically minded. Thus, the world supremacy disappear from the mental radars of those citizens. However, Latin American supremacy remains a fact. It is a technological supremacy. It is in evidence in the field of aviation with the super competitive Embraer, Tijuana aerospace industry, agribusiness, renewable energy sources, including solar, mini hydro, geothermal, biofuel, biogas, and biomass, cities with the world's best quality of life, cities of the future, consumer electronic, new car technology, health tech, advanced pharmaceutical industry, telecom, university education, and others. Yet many people, many young people, in the 10 countries within the Southeast Asia region, deciding where they are going to earn their PhD, consider only USA, Europe, and Australia. Indeed, they do not have any idea that the University of Sao Paulo in Brazil is at the top of the international list of the best educational institution, or that the University of Buenos Aires or Mexico City are world leaders in higher education. This class of ignorance about Latin America is rampant and run across too many fields. An example can be found in Malaysia. It exports to Europe of 450 million people 18% of all its products and services. However, Malaysia exports to countries within the Latin American region only 1.3% of all its products and no services. Furthermore, these products are only plastic and they are procured by the Latin American entrepreneur and not by their counterpart in Malaysia. In identifying these reasons, mainly cultural, creating this gap between these two export avenues, the university has a key role to play in educating people. However, it has not been tackled yet. These public images, university and experts are three examples of the crass ignorance about of the citizens of those countries in Southeast Asia. They are the result of many coalescing factors. One of them is the corporate social responsibility of the university in Southeast Asia region. Indeed, university in Southeast Asia region supposed to be the temple of knowledge, innovation, and international cooperation. That is, they are supposed to be some of the main drivers for increasing the social impact. It is keen to solve grand challenges like maximizing Southeast Asia Latin American complementarities, become highly relevant to business entrepreneurs and to small and medium enterprises, and having a purpose to cross sectoral boundaries. The fact is that most universities in Southeast Asia play lip services to community engagement to the detriment of teaching and research functionary. This university and the staff have problems in disinvesting in the ivory tower attitude. Surely, they do make a joint venture agreement with university from overseas. However, they are still watching at the window education international list of educational institutions. It is not our systematically and continuously on a priority basis, they cannot be, of course, competitive internationally. It follows these universities cannot become master pillar in transforming the complementarities between Southeast Asia and Latin America in cascade of practical benefits for stakeholders of share. Thus, the tragic public misunderstanding continues. All universities keep putting on top of their priority list mathematics and sciences, and at the bottom of the list, arts. The actual priority should be put mathematics and the art at the same level of importance. In the field of Latin American study at Southeast Asia University, it is done exactly the same. Priority are given to engineering and science, while Latin American studies receive only lip services. The hard fact is that the future of Southeast Asia lies in maximizing the complementarities with Latin America. Thus, the world will be better off. However, the university decision-making budget on budget reallocation continue keeping their eyes tight shut on this reality. Distractions are for them more important than keep focusing on hardcore national needs. The follow up to this situation is that professionals working for Latin America Research Center feeling demoralized cannot be driven appropriately. Indeed, the vital burning fuel that gives trust to whatever they do to enhance people awareness of the key importance of Latin America for them seems to be missing. It is strategic. Its strategic name is Grulea. It follows within the scope of the South-South platform becomes clear that when budgets for Latin America Research Center are cut to the bone, Grulea will keep on shining for its absence on this international stage for years to come. It follows professional morale is low. A contribution, solid contribution, cannot be made. Yet it is Grulea that stands for the strong self-confidence about the university abilities that make this process of maximizing resources possible. Hence, most professionals working in this university go on writing papers of historical local topics to score points with the university when they publish. Yet those papers should be instead part and parcel of pulsating institute dedicated to fulfilling its corporate social responsibility in the world and studying complementarities linking Southeast Asia to Latin American regions. Such Gruyere qualities are vital to tackling all difficulties to solve problems in a strategic leading thinking manner. The hard fact is that these qualities are frozen by the Research Center Latin America budget cut imposed by the university administrator. Perhaps they have no idea about the flow of benefits that could be derived from working towards transforming the Southeast Asia Latin America complementaries from theoretical to practical and dynamic ones. Such an imposition does not reflect the actual priority of national and international needs that this center should satisfy. Under these circumstances, international event like South-South platform celebrated during this cooperation a professional has a vital importance. Nonetheless, if the university is indeed devoted to actually transforming the words with which they illustrate the mission, vision, equality policy not coherent, then they live in the world of mendacity again. Hence, they should give the appropriate breathing space to this research center by empowering them with appropriate resources indispensable to let them deliver a top international quality performance. The track record of these centers in the Southeast Asia region seems to be, very unfortunately, stranded in a bureaucratic mindset. As a matter of fact, if they could develop their own growth mindset, they could indeed fulfill the mission of enhancing people's knowledge of Latin America. In so doing, the possibility of learning from one another would become a reality. Thus, relations between entrepreneurs from countries within Southeast Asia region and their counterparts in the Latin American region could indeed become much stronger, diversified and growing on a long-term basis, generating thus a cascade of benefits for all the stakeholders involved. Within this frame of reference, the South-South platform could make a significant contribution in generating many more benefits in the future if delegates had earned a growth mindset. The beginning of this learning process is curiosity. Yet many people in Southeast Asia countries seem to be not curious at all about Latin America. It follows the university job in educating them is getting harder. However, it needs to be done on a priority basis. As the disequilibrium experienced in the export level in Malaysia as clearly indicated while mirroring a regional situation. Within this process, the first class newsletter of this center is indeed a great step towards educating Southeast Asian people about Latin America today. Others will have to follow in this journey of thousand steps to raise the Latin American image in the hearts and minds. They will play a key strategic role in transforming the complementarities linking up these two regions from potentialities into a dynamic engine fueling the world's economy. So, since this contribution has to make a strategy has to be searched, therefore, I'm going to propose uh, that this conference make a contribution considering two basic group of strategy to improve the South-South education platform. The first is strategic is the top-down or institutional one, and then this can be exemplified by what the UNESCO does, the Inter-American Development Bank does, and then the entrepreneurial approach is exemplified by my research that has been carried out in Southeast Asia and in Latin America. So I will start with the top-down approach, and then I will go on to the bottom-up approach. The South-South cooperation is a key modality for implementing all of its programs in education, the sciences, culture, communication, information, and the specific action in this area is reflected in medium-term strategy in this program and budget. South-South cooperation has the following characteristic. Through such cooperation, new multi-stakeholder partnerships had to be developed, supporting policy dialogues, capacity building, regional integration, and knowledge sharing to support countries from the global south to reach the development objective. It is born out of the desire to make the global south partnership truly inclusive and effective. Thus, member developing countries partners have been meeting like at this conference. The driving force behind the knowledge sharing platform are competition, marketplace demands, new operating and management practices, new approaches in information technology, the barriers in organizational effectiveness, boost technological effectiveness, and understand the human cognitive capacity. Knowledge sharing platform is a centralized hub for sharing information, guidelines, policies, instructions, processes, documentation. It is designed to be easy to find, understand, and engage with. Meetings improve communication with the rest of the partnership. Peer-to-peer learning, experiences sharing and understanding of country-level education, sector reform. They bond constituency members together, fostering mutual accountability, respect, and trust. The UNESCO approach, it has the following characteristic: strengthening technical cooperation between countries and attracting funding from new and emerging donors. It cooperates with member states, civil society, and the academic world, promoting public-private partnership arrangements in education. Pivotal functions include a common platform for engagement through international and regional for acting as a clearinghouse to store good practices in education, building networks, a community of practice, and rewarding innovation through prizes, mobilizing and engaging youth, advancing educational agenda, culture as a driver and enabler for sustainable development. And then we have to consider also enhancing freedom of expression, a more conscientious population, leading towards a common high education space for the Latin American countries. And then there is the capacity development, teachers' education and evaluation, girls and women education, technical and vocational education and training, effective literacy and awareness, international and regional fora, collective consultation with NGO on education. This is the approach of the of UNESCO. The Inter-American Development Bank instead has used a different approach. And therefore, their approach to South-South cooperation has the following characteristic. They sign a memorandum of understanding on March, for example, on March 27, 2011, the IDP and the Republic of Korea signed the MOU to support knowledge sharing programs, creating programs to promote urban developments, trade facilities, and other activities that will support socio-economic development, to produce joint research, consultative policy workshop, a capacity building training program for middle and high level government officers, possible opportunity for co-financing of projects, strengthening their relations and partnership to provide advisory service in environmental protection, energy efficiency, and sustainable finance. I have I completed the top-down approach in order to contribute to the South-South platform. Now I use the bottom-up approach, which is totally different, perhaps much more daring and engaging, because it involves the person in the first phase, and especially the entrepreneur. So this entrepreneurial approach has the following characteristic. It has to focus only on education about the other, or the entrepreneur from countries within the Southeast Asia region. And therefore, this has become a study that I have done both in Southeast Asia for Latin Americans, and it's called Know the Other. And it is essentially focused on explaining to Latin America people how entrepreneurs in Southeast Asia think. And therefore, since Southeast Asia has 10 countries, the analysis had to be done in each of the 10 countries members of Southeast Asia. And the problem was to show to Latin American entrepreneurs how important it is to understand and appreciate how different people think in a totally different way. And that's the purpose of the analysis, not to make them tune in with their counterpart so that they can think and learn from one another. Therefore, this approach, bottom up, consists in using the entrepreneurial, the bottom up approach. It has been applied while investigating the mainstream mindset of each of the 10 countries in the Southeast Asia region. It has been carried out to enhance the efforts made by entrepreneurs from Latin America in exploring the possibility of working in any one of the 10 countries in the Southeast Asia region. It is going to be published in Spanish as a 673 pages book by the University of Lima, Peru, in October 2022. It is structured in three parts. Part one, the global context of the ASEAN countries' mindset. Part two, the local context of the ASEAN countries' mindset. And part three, the impact of culture and mindset on the Southeast Asia Latin America relations. This the entrepreneurial approach, or the bottom-up one, is dramatically different from the top-down one because it involves stakeholders in the very first person rather than institution. That is, these entrepreneurs had to put their face on the process of learning about the other from Southeast Asia countries and pay the price for their learning, which will allow them to reap the appropriate benefits in due time. It stresses the reality check about connectivity, how to carry out this weeding process involving him, her, in the very first person, the need for rigorous and emotional intelligence and for rigorous cultural intelligence in how to apply them. It is followed by the investigation into the key research question, what if, using critical and creative thinking. The ultimate result of this investigation is discovering and actually gaining proficiency in cultural awareness. This investigation has been carried out in each of the 10 countries within the Southeast Asia to educate Latin American entrepreneurs to discovering and knowing the other, which is the strategic basis on which to build solid architecture of the relationship. At the end of this 10 process of discovery, the impact of this individual culture and mindset on Southeast Asia Latin American relation is investigating by focusing on soft power, country image, and international relations, nature attracting and influencing, international business attracting and influencing, and country image projecting and branding. The section is followed up by an investigation of the role of people to people approach to building self sustaining world peace, and then it is followed by lessons to be learned from the COVID-19 experiences on winning Southeast Asian relations. Finally, overall conclusion are drawn. You can see that I have explained these two groups of strategy to give a contribution to the South-South platform, the top-down and the bottom-up, because they are totally different. Both of them can be done. Both of them can involve the university. These, given the crass ignorance that there is about Latin America in Southeast Asia, the university should take this role and push it forward. And in so doing, they would be able to do also strategic plan for the government on how to increase the approach to maximize the complementarity, the economic complementarities between these two regions. But unfortunately, none of the university in Southeast Asia deals with this problem. Why? Because Latin American studies are not considered seriously, and therefore they're not funded, and people keep playing lip services to it. Why instead, Latin American studies should have as much importance as science and engineering, because the future of these two regions will depend by being able to unite themselves and maximize the human capital they have, because one can give it to the others can give to the other. So there is a possibility of mutual learning, which so far has not been done. And the university could play a tremendous role in doing this. Therefore, I go back on the issue of budget. The misplacement of budgetary allocation, not on the basis of maximized strategic complementarities linking these two regions, but rather on the preset bureaucratic priority, is a no-no situation. These budgetary allocations are unable to satisfy the needs of these two regions through the initiative engineered by the professionals working at the Centers of Latin American Study at the university. Thus, Tennessee Williams' observation keep on burning and stressing the importance of what needs to be done. In order to enhance the South-South education platform, we have to reach an overall conclusion and a strategic action plan. The overall conclusion is twofold. First, transforming the public image that Latin America has of all 10 Southeast Asian countries by working up to sustain curiosity in people's hearts and minds, because curiosity is the springboard of understanding. The strategic action plan identifies 4 initiatives that have been taken to satisfy those people's needs, and is so doing improving the quality of relation being built among the countries within these two regions. This initiative belongs to the top-down international relations analysis, while the other belong to the bottom-up analysis, to winning relations between countries in these two regions. As you can see in this paper, I've tried to tackle the aspect of the first Latin American platform on the South-South on a different approaches, but focusing on realities. It is impossible to give a contribution and implement a contribution to the South-South platform unless we have been able to put our own house in order. But right now, throughout all the universities that there are in Southeast Asia, We have not been able to put our house in order. Even Singapore University does not have a proper Latin America study center. And, and because there is not a proper Latin America have developed the Latin America Chamber of Commerce in Singapore precisely to tackle this important need that needs to be developed on a priority basis. Essentially, that's what I said, and I hope that I can hear your comments.
Ah, thank you so much, Professor Leta, for so deep explanation about South education. We have 5 questions for you. Number one, how e-learning and teaching can be efficient between the two continents, okay, is can have a high impact to have a electronic platform education, a network of Asian universities and Latin American universities, and make a centralized electronic education South platform. Can work this system, yes or not? And what do you think? This is the first question.
Certainly, that can be done, but depends which part of Southeast Asia you're talking about and which part of Latin America you're talking about, because you got to have people who are open. One of the problems of building Latin America Southeast Asia relations is that one does not know the other, and the other does not know the other, and therefore, but they have the same problems, exactly the same problems.
Exactly.
If you think about the structure of the economy, it's all SME, small and medium enterprise,
Yes.
and therefore, but they do not know that they have the same problems. Therefore, what you're saying, that would be in addition to your letter, newsletter that you have just published, that would be
Yes.
also a very good thing to do, because it would certainly enhance furthermore. But in order to do a proper program, it's necessary to raise the funds in order to push forward this, because otherwise the people in Southeast Asia, they will think about Latin America only when there is the festival, the music festival, the food festival,
Yes.
and the dance festival. And then once this is done, bye bye,
Yes.
finish.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. The second question is,
Instead, what you propose is interesting because it's going to be a permanent thing. You see,
yeah. Um.
all the initiatives that have been done until now, they
Yeah.
are temporary event, 1 week at the most, and then
Yes.
finish.
Okay.
For the rest of the year, all
uh,
forgotten. No.
the second question is about the language, because Spanish has some difficulties to understand English, and also in Southeast Asia can speak English, more of them, but have difficulties to communicate in Spanish. Have this big barrier, this big wall, I calling. How can
Well,
we solve this?
I think that certainly it's not possible to say that lots of people in Southeast Asia speak Spanish. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But they do speak English, and
Yes.
some of them they're not even English, but the Singaporean English, which makes a difference. But the Latin American people, especially entrepreneurs, do speak some English. They prefer Spanish, of course,
Yes. Exactly.
but if they fair to face the situation, they can speak English, and that is the beauty of it. That on the one hand, the Southeast Asian entrepreneur doesn't speak excellent English, and the other one instead would like to, by working together, you can make the human makeup
Yes.
work, and there is the right chemistry to improve each other, also on the language.
Yep. Uh, Third one, about knowledge. You are talking about more about scientific engineering and all these issues. Um, I have the feeling that the interconnectivity of research south is crucial. Okay,
Of course,
but the big
of course.
issue is the funding. The research funding is very hard, because north United States, Europe, or this kind
Of
of
course,
thing
of
have
course,
exchange
of
of
course.
research, not only financial, also intellectually. And then this is the difficulty we found, that interconnect research and development, between Southeast Asia and South America and Latin America is very hard. Firstly, the first barrier I think is the language. Second is the level of knowledge they have. It have differences. And third, I think is the technical background they have. You see, Southeast Asia philosophy, Confucius and Islamic uh, teachings in different part of Southeast Asia. It's not like Latin
Yes,
American. Everybody is Catholic or Christian uh, beliefs and thinking.
that's right.
But in Southeast Asia, we have Islam, we have Buddhists, we have Tamil,
Absolutely.
we have
Yeah.
this kind of mix of
The
beliefs.
spectrum, the religious spectrum is much larger.
Exactly, and only these beliefs, historical and human behavior. Well, I call this better in this word because I don't want to go deeply in issues of religion. And the human behavior. If you take one Southeast Asian person and one South America, they are totally different approach of see life. Okay, and this is
Sure.
make difficult sometimes to make this platform. Um, I have the fourth question for you, and this is, I think, is more crucial. How Europe interacts more with Latin America or with Asia? Because you are in Italy now, in Europe, and I want to know from European point of view, with who you have more interaction with, South America, Latin America, or Asia recently,
Well,
especially now with the booming of China.
historically it was with Latin America, but now we have learned the importance of Southeast Asia, so we are increasing tremendously. For example, the Minister of Foreign, the Malaysian Minister of Foreign Affairs, 7 years, no, 10 years ago, asked me, what can I do in order to diversify the international foreign policy by bringing in more Europeans? And the result was that I did a study, and now there are many more Europeans than there were before, of course.
Yes, true.
But the other thing about what you were saying before, we got to be practical. These difficulties cannot they have not to be a break from pushing us into action. We can take this, we can make a selection of people, of scholars here, and then make a proposal
Yes,
on exactly what you have said. But this proposal is not a theoretical proposal to send to the administrator of the university, because that would be total failure, because they will not be able to understand. But
yes,
if we present that proposal to the Inter-American Development Bank, they will
yes,
listen.
correct.
They will listen. And therefore, if we say, shall we say, we prepare a group of 10 people, then
Yes,
for each of these 10 people, there is an executive director at the Inter-American Development Bank. We
yes,
prepare the thing, and then each one of the member of the team is going to talk to his representative, the Inter-American Development Bank, to get an audition, and we can present.
yeah, correct.
We have to, since there is nothing, we have to start from something in
Yes,
order to
more
have the
realistic.
funds,
Yeah, more
because nobody
realistic.
else would be able to listen. And instead, the Inter-American Development Bank is very keen. As I said before, the Inter-American Development Bank has been able to sign that MOU with the Koreans because the Koreans made them a proposal.
Yes,
They
exactly.
accepted, they financed.
Yeah.
So if they have been able to do, why can't we?
Yes. Professor Leta, I don't know. I want to ask you about this issue. How is the people approach to Asian Development Bank also? Because it's not only teach Latin America and Asia. We'd like also to show Asia to Latin America. Need to be double way. Do you know what I mean? Because it's no
But
logic. Only we trying to. Yes.
Professor Mario, you, you are preaching to a converter, because this book that I'm publishing in Lima, the foreword has been written by the Director General of the Asian Development Bank
Yes.
in the Philippines.
Okay.
And like that, there are others. They're very sensitive to see. So, as you can see, it's not that we have to despair, or we don't have anybody. There are possible institutions who will listen, but it is our job to contact them and make a proposal, a
Yes.
concrete
Correct.
proposal, not an academic, theoretical proposal, but
I understand, Prof. Leta. Thank you so much. It's
And
a very good point. It's a very, very good point.
if you think, for example, CELAC has the Secretary General is an Italian, so even that we could try to bring
To
on board.
approach.
But we got to
To
make
approach.
not an academic proposal to have a beautiful seminar, no, a concrete proposal for entrepreneur by both sides. Then they will listen. Because if you're
Fantastic.
going to
Yeah.
make a proposal that involves the public, these two institutions, they're not going to spend their money
No.
because they know they will not produce a concrete result, but only bureaucracy.
In conclusion, is be more practical, more applicable, and more realistic
Absolutely, absolutely.
to write a proposal that really have a high impact, not in the academic, more in the policy way, to attract people to support this South-South
But that's
education platform. You are right. Please.
but that's why I insisted so much on the budget reallocation, because the
Yes.
people at the university are not equipped with the know-how and the vision to understand the importance of Latin America. Instead, Latin America is the breadbasket and the technological future for the world. And in Southeast Asia, we have the entrepreneur. If we bring the two things together, that would be a fantastic match. But
Yes.
unfortunately, until now, most of the things have been done from the top-down approach, institutional. Therefore, gets in politics, bureaucracy. If instead we try from an entrepreneurial approach, it's different. That's why I was thinking, if we could create a small team, a brain trust of no more than 10 people from different nationalities
I understand.
that produce something, and then once they're sure of what they produce, we contact the Inter-American Development Bank and the World and the Asian Development Bank, not the World Bank, because the Latin American section of the World Bank is not as important as the one in Asia. And we just make ourselves understood and then get the financing. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It has to be a laboratory, an experimental thing, but on an entrepreneurial basis to make it precisely to enhance the entrepreneur from there and the entrepreneur from here to work together.
Yeah.
And
you
I'm
are right.
pretty sure that from both sides, they would be willingly to listen and to finance. But it has to be not a beautiful book or a beautiful paper. It has to be operational,
Yes.
which
Operational. Correct.
allows
I
us,
understand.
allows the group to even indicate which companies you could talk to and try to put them together.
It's,
Then I'm pretty sure both that the Inter-American Development Bank and the Asian Development Bank in Manila, they both would listen, both of them. And perhaps we could do something combining the two of them together and us. Something from an experimental basis would be wonderful, and would show to SEAPA we can achieve things without getting involved in too much bureaucracy.
I think it's a trilogy between banks, Caribbean Latin American Bank, Asian Development Bank, universities, and business people. This triangle of
That's
combination
right. That's
to bring have impact, because I don't think. Sorry, this is go more dialogue than your presentation. I feel I agree with you that it's very clear that we need to have more precise objectives and results more than theoretical papers or a classic education system that create one platform without any impact. And thank you so
But
much, Professor Leta. You open a new window.
in order to do that, my feeling is that it would not be helpful to get the university involved institutionally, because then you start dealing with lots of other problems which have nothing to do with the project. So it has to be just bring these 10 brains together under the leadership of your institute. For example, you start with a small brain storming at your institute, and then you go from there. Then, as you gain momentum, you can. It is possible to start feeling the vibration on the other side, in Manila and in Washington.
Yes.
You have encouragement to continue. You see. But if you get the university administration involved, rest assured that it will be blocked for one reason or the other. It would not work.
What you're trying to say is less bureaucracy and more efficient allocation of resources
Absolutely,
to flow
absolutely.
not only the financial issues, also the institutional and labor mobility to contract or take any worker or researcher to do research and benefit the center and the relation south-south.
Because, because Professor Mario, the problem is there. Nobody's tackling it,
Yes,
but it needs
correct.
to be tackled. 2 years ago, no, 2 years and a half ago, I tried to participate together with Madrid to do a Latin American week, and during that week we did a lot of conferences with entrepreneurs. The result, zero.
Thanks.
Why? Because there was no follow up. Because there is curiosity for the moment. Then once the event is finished, the curiosity disappears. And
Everything
instead,
die. I
the
think
follow up has to build up in the actual planning of the brain trust. The momentum has to be maintained, because otherwise maybe you come up with a proposal, but then there is no the Aurelia, the enthusiasm, the conviction involved. And if you go there without enthusiasm and conviction, they won't listen to you, because those are businessmen.
Yeah.
They're willingly to invest, provided that you make sense. If you don't make sense because you talk only jargon, university jargon, of course you're going to be a loser.
Okay.
You know.
Professor, the last question, I think, is the more crucial. Do you think it's possible to consolidate master degrees and PhDs bilateral between Latin American universities and Southeast Asian to combine joint programs to rectify one degree from both sides and have the possibility the degree can be accepted in Latin America and Southeast Asia? This is the goal and close question for today.
Yeah, but one master, one PhD, no PhD and master together.
Yeah, both can be. The accreditation can be in Latin America and Southeast Asia? What do you think about this?
That can be done, but in order to do that, then you got to go to the most advanced university in Latin America, like Sao Paulo. Yeah, you got to, because then if the university system see that on top something new is happening, then everybody will imitate. But if you start from the bottom, the people from the bottom, they will not be able to understand the importance of this new initiative, because you're going to be an innovator. And to innovate, you got to be able to be with somebody who is in your same type of mindset. And those you can find also only at the University of Sao Paulo, or maybe in Argentina.
Argentina, yeah.
Or perhaps in Mexico City.
Mexico City, UNAM. Okay. Thank you so much, Professor Leta. This presentation was so illustrative and very deep to explain so many points about South education. We like to say sorry, Professor Cohen from Netherlands. I think he has some technical problems, but
is he coming now or later?
I think it's later. Later.
Later.
Okay, Professor Leta.
When are you going to have the professor, in the afternoon or when?
We trying to contact him, but he no reply. I think some problem he has.
Okay,
but,
okay.
With your presentation, we have a lot to show to the public. Professor Leta, thank you so much.
Professor
Really,
Mario,
we have a long journey.
I noticed that you did not send me this poster. You sent me the poster.
Yes,
with
I
the
sent
other
to
person.
you. Okay, I'm
No,
going to
no.
send
You
again
send me the first one
Mexican
with
professor.
the Latin
Yeah,
with
his is
the
over.
with the
The-
Latin American scholar.
okay, I
This
send
is
you
a
later
different
the
one.
another one. No worries.
Yeah, with the guy from Rotterdam. Yes,
Yes, Rotterdam.
that's nice.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Then for this
And
moment
then
sorry.
when you publish whatever, then you send it to me.
Yes,
Yeah.
Prof. No worries. It's our responsibility. Prof, Lita,
But
thank you.
if you think we can do something about this brain trust thing, that could be a good idea.
Sure. We can try to
Okay.
do kind of exercise together with my colleagues that we have our team of the Center of Latin American Studies,
Of
Dr.
course.
Rosita and Dr. Yamian, that they are
Then
experts they are in language and also in cultural. And then we can
splendid.
have a contact with you and we can have a round table electronically first and
Right,
we can
right.
discuss more deeply. Bro, Leta, thank you so
Okay.
much. We
Thank you. So
appreciate
kind
your
of you.
time. And later we proceed to edit the video and we're going to put in the internet and I send you the link as soon as
Yeah.
possible.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you to you.
And congratulations for your exhibition. Eh?
Thank you so much.
That's
I
very
appreciate so
important.
much. God bless you, Prof. Okay, ciao, Prof.
Ciao. Thank
Ciao,
you.
ciao. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.